Welcome back. All right, so Vancouver and Calgary's seasons are done. You know what's interesting to me is the records are similar. They're in a similar place. Their general managers, their track records are not completely dissimilar from one another, and yet the reactions in each city, well, the interesting thing too is I've been talking to Canuck fans who are saying, "Hey, it's never been this bad." Here's the thing: when things were good in Vancouver, oh man, there was so much complaining. So when the team was really good back in 2011 and 2012, there was a lot of complaining in Vancouver about the Canucks, a ton. And there was a lot about how they never won with Luongo, they never won with the Sedins, the team wasn't tough enough, the team was this, the team was that. So I think a lot of what I'm dealing with right now is just exhaustion, where it's like, oh, here comes more of it. And part of what happens is that if you do have people who complain all the time, and I know this from former workplaces, and it's something I've learned as a YouTuber too. If you complain all the time, eventually people just won't listen to it. So it's that balance that I don't know that every fan base necessarily has, and I haven't seen as much of it from Calgary. And Calgary, think about it. 2 years ago, this was a team that was on the cusp. They were the number one team in the West. Things looked really, really good. Johnny Gaudreau coming off a 99-point season. Everything looked excellent in Calgary. And then they lost in the first round. And since then, it's been a mismatch. And they appear to be a team that's at a crossroads. And yet, I don't know how many changes are going to happen in the offseason for either of these teams. I think there'll be more changes in Vancouver, probably, than Calgary. I think Seattle may factor into it for both, but I don't know. We'll see. So it's Holtby versus Markstrom, and we can all have the Holtby discussion. This game's just a microcosm to me of how the season went for him. Phillips making his NHL debut, and watching the Calgary broadcast, they were rightfully excited to have Phillips in the lineup there. And the season about to end for both. The last regular season game I'm going to be reviewing until October. Hamonic, it looked like wanted another early. He would not get on the board today, but he was good. Canucks get a power play. The shots at 4.5 minutes into this game were only 1-0 in favor of Vancouver. That's it. This was a slow start to the game. There was a shorthanded chance for Stone. That was the Flames' first chance. Power play was not clicking for Vancouver. And then at 7:41, the Flames get their second shot and it goes in. It's Tkachuk from Gaudreau and Valimaki. And that makes it 1-0. Horvat then gets a breakaway. Markstrom makes the save on that. Markstrom had a good game. And it was funny because since this is the Calgary broadcast, hearing Eric Francis talk about, well, Calgary shouldn't be playing their A roster and why are we doing that? Don't they want a better draft position? I was thinking, I've heard this somewhere else this week. What other fan base has been saying this week? So Dubé scores 5-hole. That was the fifth shot of the game for Calgary from Ryan and Ritchie at 12:16. And Holtby coming into this game had an 894 save percentage. So that's 2 goals on 5 shots. That's a 60% save percentage so far in this game. Chatfield and Tkachuk then had offsetting penalties. It goes to 4-on-4. It was Tkachuk that took the first penalty in this game as well. Canucks killed it off, and I say that because it felt like Calgary was the better team in the first period. And then Mangiapane would score at 16-18 from Backlund and Nordstrom. And for the Flames, that's their 8th shot. For Mangiapane, that is 7 of his 18 goals this season against Vancouver. I love Mangiapane, but I'm telling you, he feasts on the Canucks. We'll see how much money that's worth to him because they won't play the Canucks as much next season as they have this season. Second period, early press by the Canucks, and Rathbone, in a season that's been a mess, and the last few weeks have been a mess, Jack Rathbone's been very good. I think he's earned himself the right to compete for a top 6 spot next year. I think right out of training camp, he should probably be in that top 6. And we'll see how that top 6 looks, right? There was a near miss by Ryan at 5 minutes, but not long after that, Brett Ritchie scores from Ryan and Dubé at 5:14. That was the 12th shot on net. So it's 4 goals on 12 shots on Holtby. Canucks then try to answer. More good play by Rathbone. Besser was prominent there as well. The Canucks would press. They draw a power play. They do score on it, so they make it 4-1. It's Horvat on the power play from Besser and Rathbone. 8:34 is the time of that. The 19th goal for Horvat. He's 1 goal short of 20 goals on the season. Dubé then nearly answers. Holtby would kick that out. Might have been his best save of the game. And then JT Miller makes it 4-2 from Besser and Myers at 9:32. It was tipped in front by Miller. No chance by Markstrom. The funny thing is that I hear Rudy saying, well, that's Besser's goal. I didn't see a tip in front. And it was clear. It was really obvious that it went off Miller's stick and into the net. And I'm like, and then they were looking at it in a replay to see if it was below the bar, if it was a high stick. And I'm thinking, yeah, that was tipped. And like, I don't know why they're looking at it. It wasn't tipped. How could you not see it was tipped? So that was one of those things. And then Tkachuk would answer from Goudreau and Tanev at 10:29. So they didn't stay within 2 goals for long. That's the 14th shot. That's 5 goals on 14 shots. Holtby, not a happy camper in this one. Markstrom then took a shot from Chatfield in the neck / collarbone area. He was down, but he stays in the game. Flames then make it 6-2. The Canucks challenged it as offside. Yes, it's offside. And Holtby, after that goal went in, looked done. In that situation, Holtby looked like he was finished. Because there's this look that Braden Holtby gets during a game. We've seen it a few times where he just looks kind of fed up. And I'm not going to say whether it was the defense in front of him or whether it was his game or what it was, but he did not look very happy in that period at that stage of the game. And then the Canucks get a power play, unsuccessful. The power play today, it ends up being okay. It is something they'll have to look at in the offseason. Flames then press with 1.5 minutes left, but it is 5-2 after the second period. So heading into the third, pretty comfortable game for the Flames. Canucks basically finished in this game. Dubé, they announced wouldn't return. Now, what's interesting in this is he looked like he twisted his leg against the boards. I believe he got tangled up with Hamonic. Hamonic didn't see him there, so there wasn't any kind of intentional anything with it. But Dubé is supposed to represent Team Canada at the World Championships. This leaves that in doubt now. Will Dubé actually represent Canada at the World Championships? Miller then net crashes. Puck does not go in. Miller was kind of shaken up there. And then it's Mackey with his first NHL goal from Richie and Ryan at 3:29. And first off, that's the first NHL goal for Mackey, which they spelled McKay on the TV. They spelled it as McKay, and I thought, well, that's great. My first goal, and they spelled my name wrong. Crap. That was only the 24th shot. That's the 6th goal. And yes, Derek Ryan is very likely going to the Seattle Kraken. He's the most likely pick by Seattle, or ends up getting traded to Seattle in the offseason based on being from Spokane and all that. The Canucks then press. They get a power play. However, during the power play, we get 16 seconds of 4-on-4, and then the Flames get a power play out of that. Myers took a puck to the collarbone. Rough couple of games for Myers, who kind of looked like he hurt his shoulder in the last game, and now this one he takes a puck off the collarbone. And he was behind the net. It wasn't even blocking a shot. It was just the puck hit him. Horvat then tried to kind of ninja one in, and again, he was looking for his 20th goal. Doesn't end up getting there. Markstrom then denied Highmore, who draws a power play, but that was unsuccessful for Vancouver. Flames then pressed. The Canucks were pinned down for over 2 minutes in that third period, and then they iced it, so the guys who were pinned down were still on the ice. But it doesn't come to anything. Then with 1 minute and 46 seconds left, the Flames get a power play. That is unsuccessful. Not that Calgary's going to care. So there you see, I got an auto emblem now for Calgary. All set for next season. Final score 6-2 in favor of Calgary. They go to 26-27-3 with the win. Vancouver drops to 23-29-4 with the loss. Calgary now has a really good chance of drafting 13th in the draft. For the Canucks, I think it's 11th, 10th, somewhere around there is likely where they end up drafting. And I'm saying likely, most likely, might be higher, lower, who knows. But the shots in this one, I didn't end up using this side of the board today, but I left all the magnets on there because why not? Shots were 9-5 Calgary in the first, 10 apiece in the second, and 9-6 Calgary in the third. The final shots 28-21 for the Flames. Power plays, Vancouver 1 for 5, Calgary 0 for 2. Hits 9-6 in favor of Vancouver. 9. Block shots 9-7 in favor of Calgary. So the effort may not quite have been where you want it to be, which may have hurt Holtby as well. 22 saves on 28 shots. His save percentage in this game, 786. Like I said, he committed today with an 894 save percentage. I really can't see him being the guy that ends up going to Seattle. There are going to be a lot of good goaltenders that are available for Seattle to pick from, who are cheaper, younger, better stats. And I think what hurts Holtby as well is he had rough stats this year combined with rough stats last year in Washington. Markstrom saves 19 out of 21. He was good. Again, he got shaken up on a shot that he takes in the neck collarbone region, but stayed in the game, and shouldn't be a problem because they don't play again until October. The only way that could, of course, be a problem is if they're going over to play in the World Championships and they get dinged up today. But yeah, so the flame on this side is for the tire fire that Vancouver is right now. And if given the option between enjoying a nice sunny day on Saturday or protesting the fact that the ownership won't listen to the fans, I would choose to go to the beach. There's so many nice places to go in Vancouver, and it's a long weekend. So there's part of me that looks at some of this stuff and I think, if you were a Toronto fan and you wanted to troll Canuck fans, you could create an account that makes it look like you're a Canuck fan and just rile them up and get them all angry and everything and get them to go and do protests and stuff. That'd be really funny if you're a Toronto fan, wouldn't it? Just a thought that occurred to me today. I almost did a podcast episode on it, and I thought, nah, I'll just throw it in here. But it has occurred to me that I look at some of these accounts and I'm like, this would be a fantastic troll job if this guy was actually not a Canuck fan and he was just riling them up constantly. And that would be like next level trolling. So just a thought I had, because again, with the anonymity of the internet being the way it is, you could absolutely pull that off. But hey, it's done. And now we get to hear every day until October what fans think. But I will be able to now do videos on these teams missing the playoffs and on what they might do for next year and all that, like I've been doing with the other out of the playoffs videos. I didn't do one today because there's 5 games today, so I did the treadmill in between the news video and now. And of course, there was all St. Louis, will they play, won't they play? And the answer is they will. And when reading upon all that, I thought, yeah, they're going to play. I'm not really all that worried. All right. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, just hockey. We'll see what these teams do in the offseason now and what kind of changes get made. And how many players that were wearing Calgary jerseys today end up in Vancouver. And how many guys wearing Vancouver jerseys end up in Calgary next year. Because that'll work. All right. Thanks again for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.